Hello, welcome. This is Sports This Morning. We're broadcasting live from Channels TV Sports Center in Lagos, Nigeria. Glad to have you join us. I'm Austin Okonakpan.
Thanks for joining us this morning for the Friday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Let's start you off with the news making the rounds. We start from home today. Nigeria is set to develop a strict COVID-19 sports code to serve as guidelines to protect the health and safety of athletes. Of course, following standard practice across the globe now, and with the growing calls for sports to make a return in Nigeria, we have to have that strict COVID-19 sports code. Of course, the Sports Minister, Sunday Dare, is in the forefront of all of that.
Let's see what they can do with the sports code because, of course, sports followers in the country have been, making that call that sports should resume. But guys, remember, it's safety first. Let's get into the action now. The English Premier League is back, and action resumed tonight when Nigeria's Odioni Yalo's Manchester United will travel to White Hart Lane to take on Tottenham. That one should get us talking.
Of course, that game should get us talking, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen later tonight. All right, let's also talk about Italy and let you know that Serie A returns this weekend in Italy. The competition restarts, and we'll see whether Juventus will continue with their dominance, whether the dominance will be a challenge this time. It's going to be interesting to see how all of that pans out in the Italian Serie A.
It will definitely generate a lot of talking point in the Italian Serie A. We talked about the pressure on Juve now. Let's see if they can turn it around. Action is back in England. It's back in Spain. It's been back in Germany. And now Italy will join the fun. People will start sending messages when MPFL start. Let's wait, guys. That's the outlook of the show this morning. Let's get into other stories that we've been monitoring. We've been talking about golf lately. We listened to some of the top golfers talk about how they're pushing rustiness to the side, how they're beginning to, go with the advisories, respect safety standards. But the good thing is they're playing golf, and they're playing more golf. I think the more they get into it, they will get those strikes.
The thing about the early lead is that you can be on the leaderboard now, and something happens, somebody...
on the final day, so just produce lesser shots, and that's it.
So we'll see what happens. We keep monitoring those guys. They're giving us reason to talk sports this morning. All right, let's go to the United States and talk about something, well, that has been in the front burner since the death of George Floyd. The issues have been there, but now everything has been... everything is out there and a lot of talks about it. We're talking about issues related to racial injustice in the United States. And guess what? Why are we talking about it in sports? The people making the calls, talking about it, bringing it to the front. A lot of them are sportsmen. And of course, we have no other thing to do than to talk about the things some of them are talking about. Also on the show this morning, we're going to listen to Michael Johnson.
That's right.
And it's a bit scary when somebody who rarely comes out, who is not in the spotlight apart from what he did when he was active. Michael Johnson talking about systemic racism. Talking about, and if you look at what's happening in the U.S., apart from two sectors like sports and entertainment, you can't really show me other places where ethnic minorities are dominant. And those are the things he's trying to talk about.
That's what it is, and it's to show some more respect, appreciate us for the things we've done, and that this thing is systemic makes it a problem because somehow it's looking like it's not going to go away. And they know that in a way this thing affects performance. I think was it Johnny Allo that was saying that the next time this thing happens to him, he's going to walk out. A lot of times we've seen black athletes walk out of proper games, they've come out at press conferences to say this is wrong. And I agree with you, Michael Johnson is a very reserved guy. It's only when you're talking about his records and things that he did while he was active on the tracks that you get to see him. But now he has put his mouth. The other day was Magic Johnson. The other time was Michael Jordan.
That rarely talks.
Everybody has come out to say, look, if this is a problem, we've got to find a way to solve it. Otherwise, it will forever be a problem. And since everybody involved in this thing are professionals, particularly in our world of sports, then there's a problem. If your teammates is looking at you one type of eye because of the color of your skin, then there's a problem. It can even affect productivity. So, yeah, I agree with Michael just saying that this is something we need to fight. Particularly, I mean, I don't like that word systemic.
Yeah.
I don't like when
It means there's a system that
Yeah.
ensures something goes on.
And if you take your eyes away,
You know,
because
even though somebody can say, how is it happening? But there's a system
that
that
supports
ensures.
it. Yeah.
All right, let's not put words into Michael Johnson's mouth. Let's hear him talk about those issues. He calls it a big problem.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is that, the conversation turns to racism, and personal racism and relationships between Black people and white people. That's important. Stamping out the racist sentiment of, small groups of people, who, are white supremacists and want to promote the idea that white people are superior than Black people and others. That's important. But what's really important here is the systems that supports those things, that allows people to have those sorts of views and feel comfortable with those views. The systems and the institutions that, because they're so unequal, allows racist policies to be implemented and allows it to be, and makes it okay that a company that sells to a broad spectrum of Black people only has zero, not only has, but just has zero Black members on their board of directors.
All right, that's it. Michael Johnson, it's a lot more scary if you're hearing it from guys like this. And I guess that's why Magic Johnson was saying yesterday that, look, these sports stars and these people, he talked about celebrities and sports stars, that they have the power to effect change.
That's right.
Because of the position that they occupy. They have the mileage, they have the influence, they can talk about it. I mean, we had to listen to him this morning. Probably if it was a rap artist, somebody who does drugs and does all of that. But somebody like this, you'll be forced, has a clean record. I mean, there's nothing negative about him and complaining about these issues.
He's a 100% champ, won 4 Olympic gold medals and 8 world championships medals. So if this guy is talking, he knows what he's talking about, and he has exposed it. He said, look, we're talking to those people who implement policies that are racist, people who are supporting these things in the background, that they feel that they're so powerful, and that because you're white, you're more superior than the guy who is Black. So he said, hey, look at me, I'm Michael Johnson, I'm an Olympic champ, and you just said it that he's clean. We hardly hear rubbish about this guy. So he has come out and said, I can't keep quiet, and that's what they can do for the younger generation. Put the word out there, put the message out there that this thing is killing us in every way, not just sports. When you look at the other person and you put some inferiority on that person because of the color of the skin, then that's a problem.
This guy has to do twice as small to be on the same level of this guy, has to put in twice the effort. For some people, some of these things we're saying is just an excuse, a layman's excuse. But if these guys who've been through all of this, and it's a bit easier for them, even though some will not agree with what I'm saying, it's a bit easier in those two sectors. Because, I mean, in last week, probably 2 weeks ago, there was a team that had a white guy say some things about, oh, you're disrespecting the flag and so on. It took a Black teammate of his, talking about American football, it took a Black teammate of it to say, yes, we're teammates, but I'm very disappointed that you could come out to say all of this because it means you don't know how we feel about this issue. And the white guy that said so, Breeze, I think that's his name, the guy had to apologize because he now understands the issue better because his Black teammate told him we're teammates, but I'm not going to let this slide.
I mean, that's what it is. It's collective responsibility. Everybody needs to come together and fight this. Whites, Blacks. Look, if you see a Black man that is treating a white guy inhumane way, go and say, no, this is wrong. You know, that's what this guy is doing. Yeah, and I love it, and that's the only way we can fight it. And that's why tonight, when the EPL resumes, we'll still see the jerseys that have Black Lives Matter, you know. So that's how we need to fight this out of our world of sports.
All right, so that's it. We leave it at that. Hopefully, in the days to come, we wouldn't have to be talking about these issues anymore. You know, the people that need to do something about it will do a lot about it. And it's not just in the United States. Everywhere that all of these issues raises ugly head, hopefully the guys in power will sort it out. All right, let's talk athletics now and talk about, not about people on the tracks. We're talking about Lamine Diack. This morning, we're talking about the cases that he's been facing. It's been a troubling few years for him. It's not just the only one. His son involved. as well, and prosecutors are seeking for a 4-year jail term.
Baba should be resting.
I feel for this man at his age that the prosecutors want this. His lawyer has been saying that is unfair. I mean, that he's cooperated, but I mean, we're talking about corruption. And
that's what it is, and it's action and consequence, so particularly when you're a public official, and we always say it, when you know that the world is looking up to you, particularly with this thing that we're just coming from called systemic racism, that, it's a black man, so if he goes wrong, we're coming down for him. It's just unfortunate that Lamine Diack put himself into this, but in all of this, what we want integrity in sports.
Yes.
So if you're guilty, you face the law. So, but they're not letting him go. He attended the last day of hearings in Paris. So let's just hope that the trial of corruption and money laundering that is linked to the Russia doping scandal again. You see, that's a big one. I mean, you remember then too, they were saying that this thing was state sponsored.
Yes.
So it's that deep. So a lot of persons are involved, but. For Lamine Diack, you just have to face the consequence if he's found guilty.
We'll see. I hope he doesn't consume the current IAAF president.
That's what will bring reforms
as well, because I mean, you can't. If you're number two, you can't claim that all the while I didn't know anything.
But I mean, don't you like the perceived sanity in FIFA now? Because of what happened in the likes of Blatter, Jacquana, Platini. If they weren't pinned down, by now they would have been influencing policies. They are powerful.
To be, status quo would have remained.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that there's some sort of sanity in all of those international bodies because of all of this. So, it's a 7-year-old. I don't know if he gets a 4-year. I don't know what's going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see. Let justice run its course, and we'll see what happens.
And they've said the maximum sentence that the prosecutor can have is 10 years.
Wow.
10 years. So if you add his age now to another 10.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Okay, Austin, it's time to come home, and let's talk about something you're excited to talk about, what the sports ministry is doing all over the globe, especially in Europe. In spite of COVID-19, they've established protocols, guidelines for sports to return, because we believe that when sports return, it can help us to go through what has become the new normal and give us a semblance of what. And so the sports ministry is working on some of those things to ensure that, when sports return, there'll be some guidelines to protect the health and safety of our athletes.
Very, very important. I mean, I remember the other day on this show, we said COVID-19 has produced a window for our sports administrators to think, sit down and plan, sit down and say, now that we're not planning competitions, what can we do to get better? And if persons are saying it's about time we reopen sporting facilities, then we must be sure that safety is guaranteed. So they are bringing together a sports code. They've been talking, particularly as regards the Edo 2020 National Sports Festival first. While they're looking at international standards that will help the opening, be smooth, we know we have a big competition that is hanging. You just wonder what's going on with the National Sports Festival, because after ECO 2012, we didn't have it until 2 years ago in Abuja, an abridged one. Now we're getting ready for the proper one, and COVID-19 came. The technical committee, they submitted their report yesterday to the ministry. The ministry says they will study it and then see their recommendations and then jump into it. But with the sports code, I mean, it's the best international practice. What have they done in Italy to open? What have they done in England to open?
What have the Germans done?
So now you won't bring it back home and say, oh, we followed international standards. We looked at the procedures, guidelines that ensure safety. So I think that's the way to go. It shouldn't be just talks. It should be talk and action. Let's hope that it is implemented, and then when it comes out. So the Minister of Sports have been putting out some tweets as regards that.
Yeah, as we're talking about some of these issues, the issue, I mean, you've talked about two of the most important things that he said in some of those tweets. He talked about, I mean, that sports code. A lot of people already talked about the German protocols. Of course, when you want to copy and paste very well. So I hope they'll look at all of that and give us something that is unique to our situation here in Nigeria. He also talked about receiving that report from the committee that was set up is looking at it, and they've given their recommendations. So the sports ministry will now look at those recommendations
and then see the ones
decide
to jump on.
what
And
can
this
be done.
one is also good. The minister met with the FCT minister. Look, they're trying to put the MK Abiola Stadium,
renovate.
in good use. So that how can we make the stadium a mini city? Because that's what I've seen. I mean, when I went to Russia, where Nigeria played, was it Iceland in Volgograd? It's a village, but you see sporting facilities in that. When we went to, was it Cuiabá to play Bosnia in Brazil, proper village, but because of sports, they've turned it into a city. So I think that's what the minister and the FCT minister, the minister of sports and the FCT minister, the city to say, look, if you go to the Abuja National Stadium, it's a beautiful edifice. I mean, it's from package A to package B. It has a lot of space. We can't just leave it the way it is. That person just come play football, use velodrome, and then you go back. We have to think. We have to think about things that we can do for it to generate revenue, for it to be a good and useful edifice for public use. And I'm glad that they're thinking about that, because you and I know infrastructure development is a major problem in this country.
Yeah. And hopefully they'll get that done soon. And, we'll come back and see pictures better than this. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we'll take a look at some of the other things happening in your world of sports. All right, welcome back. We're still on the matter, talking about sports codes that the sports ministry is looking at working on to ensure the health and safety of athletes is top priority. As part of COVID-19, a lot of countries have started opening their doors to sport events. Is gradual, without fans, and a whole lot of issues. And we're looking at some of those in Nigeria. There are a lot of recommendations on the table. There's also one that we were talking about during the break. Some of the recommendations the committee talked about. Yeah,
the TECO committee for the Edo 2020. Before I get into that, let's let our viewers know that this sports code was developed by the IOC. So someone will not jump and say, oh, it was Nigerians that put it together. No, so they jumped on something that was international and see how we can bring it to our terrain. The minister said the English Premier League, they used it. It was used in Italy, used in Germany. So if it is working for them, it can, in a way, do. We are
not the same.
But you can just pick what is applicable to you, and then tweak it and make sure that we're fine. So that's it with that code. But most importantly, the first port of call for us, Yemi, if we're opening, all of us, we're thinking towards the National Sports Festival. So the TECO committee, they said they've been to Edo. They see that Edo is ready. We know for sports, we don't know of the other angle. For sports, Edo is ready, the facilities good, that they were prepared. Remember, it was about 5 more days to go to the kickoff of the Edo 2020 National Sports Festival that sporting activities
were halted.
Were halted. So they've given that to the ministry. They've given them their counsel on when we can, have the National Sports Festival. But the Ministry of Youth and Sports, of course, will take it to the federal government and say, look, this is what they have said. It's entirely up to the federal government.
Yes.
And if the figures keep rising, Yemi, it is what it is. If the figures keep rising, if we're recording cases daily, we shouldn't. Yeah, it's simple because it's safety. And we know sports is majorly about contact. And with the sports festival, how do you do a sports festival with that crowd?
It's not possible. It's not possible. And a lot of people are already thinking it's very, very possible that we don't have the sports festival this year. Because if the numbers keep rising, even in advanced countries, they are already looking at taking a second look at some of the decisions they've made. A lot of them think that we have opened our society, we've opened up things too early. So I don't know, maybe some other sports, but something as big as the National Sports Festival is our mini Olympics.
That's what it is.
You can't stop the fans from the influx of people. It's difficult.
It's a beehive of activities. It's a business environment. It's beyond going to compete. Persons are coming, the scouts are there, people are coming there for their economic gains to it. And that's why we're waiting for the ministry to come out with this sports code that they are planning. So when that code comes out and they put it to the public after they've looked at it, then we will now check it out and say, okay, maybe no. Because it's as simple as this. I work for Channels TV. So if the management of Channels TV feels it's not safe to even cover the National Sports Festival, you and I were going nowhere. So everybody must be, okay, we're comfortable to do this, then we're fine. So let's wait for that sports code. It's going to do a lot in terms of reopening sports in Nigeria.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. All right, it's time to bring our viewers into the program.
Let's get into it. You can be part of the show on Twitter, channels_sports. We've already opened a thread on our Twitter handle. You can go there, channels_sports. Send us questions, comments, and suggestions. Sports this morning on Channels Television. We've been talking about a whole lot of issues. We would like to hear from you. Let's do the show together. It's more fun when you get involved. So go to our Twitter, that's channels_sports, or send us an email to sportsthismorning@channelstv.com. sportsthismorning@channelstv.com. We open a thread at the English Premier League. Action will resume tonight. Nigeria's Odioni Alo will travel with Manchester United to White Hart Lane to take on Tottenham. Another EPL banger. That one should get us talking. What are your expectations? Tweet at us, channels_sports. The Italian Serie A will be back tomorrow. That should also get us talking. Yemi believes there's so much pressure on Sarri and his Juve team. Can they get out of this one? Gattuso is celebrating his first silverware as a football coach. All of these talking points in our world of sports. Let's keep that conversation going back home in Nigeria. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, they said they are developing a sports code that will ensure proper reopening of sports in the country, particularly considering safety. Let's join that conversation with what you've seen of COVID-19 globally. What's your advice? Be part of nation building this morning. What's your advice to the Ministry of Youth and Sports? Tweet at us, channels_sports. We want to hear from you this morning. Let's do the show together. So, that's it. When those tweets starts coming in, we will jump on them.
All right, so that's it. Yesterday, we had an ex-international and somebody who's played in the league at the highest level, was a one-time highest goal scorer with one of the clubs, played with one or two of the biggest club sides in Nigeria. He was with us on the show yesterday, and he said something that a lot of people are happy to hear, especially when people who have the kind of experience that he has, talking about coming back to give something to the local league, and he's talking about coaching in the Nigeria Professional Football League. I'm talking about Eddie Dombraye. Let's listen to him. He was on the show yesterday. He talked about a possible return to Nigeria as a coach in the Nigeria Professional Football League.
Eddie, I want to give you a through pass. So let's take it away from the LMC and put it on, let's put the pass to players as yourselves that have been there, done that. Now in Europe, you've seen the exposure. What can you do, particularly in coming back home, to effect change in your own little way?
For me, I'm very ambitious. I became a coach because I love the game and I want to continue being in the game like an active part. That's why I want to come to Nigeria and coach in the league. But me, my representative, we have been looking at the club because not all clubs are really ready. Because I want to meet certain standards with the club. We need to come in an agreement. If I'm coming to the league, not thinking of playing the World Club, then I believe there's no point because that's where my target.
I like the fact that he has drive.
That's what it is.
And those are the things we should encourage. It's already, do we have the kind of environment that can encourage people like this to come back? He's already talking about, if he's saying, I want to coach a club that can go to the FIFA club, you can take it for granted, he will want to win the league, want to win the CAF Champions League, that's going to take it, bring the springboard. Do we have the environment that can, be like a magnet and make these guys come back?
He's saying, before you crucify me, that's why I said, let me give him that through pass and see if he can score. Everybody said government, LMC. So I said, you've played in the league before you got to Europe, what can you do? He's already thinking, like, if I'm coming to Nigeria, he wants a club in the mode of TP Mazembe, a club in the mode of Al Ahly of Egypt, Esperance of Tunisia. Standards. He wants an enabling environment. So he's saying, like, look, I have ambition. He's a UEFA licensed coach. That's no joke. It's B and C. It's no joke. So he's saying if I'm coming back and I cannot work with a club that has an ambition to play at the Club World Cup, then what am I coming for?
And
It's difficult.
It is.
But
It
there's
is.
nothing wrong with someone being ambitious.
No. If you've grown used, accustomed to some certain standards, there's a level you don't want to fall below, and that's what he's saying. And for those who have accused all of those ex-internationals of wanting only the national team jobs,
Yeah.
the question is which of those other jobs is lucrative enough?
Yes.
You know, even maybe not in terms of money, but in terms of the opportunities and doors that job can open for you. Which one of those? I've not seen any ex-international that can stay a year or two with any of these club sites the way they currently are.
So, I mean, people will come out and say, sometimes followers get too critical of the league. No, there are some things you must do to make it a beautiful bride before you take that bride to the altar.
Yeah.
Are we doing those stuff? Some ex-internationals have tried. Austin Eguavoen, has he not tried to be a coach here? Ike Shoromu has tried to be a coach here. Duke Udi, Samson Siasia will know what Duke Udi's experience was. The last time was at Sunshine. So those are the things we need to look. So when we say develop the league, persons think is when you carry players, you file out and play football.
No, it's beyond that.
There are a lot of things at the back that you must do to achieve standards, global standards that you must respect. And yesterday, he called out the LMC that a lot of things stop at the table of the LMC. Sometimes we say the LMC needs to come and stamp their foot, step on toes. Rules are rules. To achieve development, I mean, it's a whole lot of work.
It is.
It is. If you see, when the Moroccan clubs come to play, we see the way we admire them. When they come for the CAF Champions League, we see the organization. It's admirable. You like it. And in your head, you're saying, that club is from Morocco. That's even some clubs from Sudan. You see the organization. Those are the little things. Some people say, okay, if you don't want to call it branding, call it packaging. Package it properly. Let it look good so that persons like this can see reasons to come back home. And with Eddie Dombrayemi, and he's talking to his players, they will not say, oh, is it because you are from Europe? He was with Premier Breweries, played at Bendel Insurance, played at the Den Iwayawu National before he went to Poland. Now he is a coach in Ukraine. So he has an ambition of coming back
There's
home.
no disconnect.
You know, so he comes back, he's telling you his player that, particularly, let's say he gets a job with Heartland, for instance. He has a lot of history with the club. And such a person can drive development. I think we should encourage this sort of people. So we say, okay, what can we do to make this sort of people come back home and make it good?
And we've always talked about South Americans. They're always eager to go back to their country because there's something to fall back on.
That's where they always end.
And it's already happening in South Africa.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys come back
home.
I mean, you have a club that can pay Benny McCarthy enough to stay and play, and you have a club enough that can pay him as a coach. When you have that kind of environment, those players will want to come. So there's a lot.
So if a guy, you asked him a very important question that do we have the environment, the structure to make an aspiring footballer want to stay back home? And I said, sadly enough, we don't. But if a guy in Egypt wants to play football and you don't take, and no European club is coming, Yemi, will he worry?
I don't.
He has a lot of good clubs in Egypt to play football. Congo is even becoming that. The guy will say, oh, my dream is to play for TP Mazembe. And it's fine.
We'll pay him in dollars. I mean, it takes a lot to take a player from South Africa these days. You have to double whatever he's going to get in the PSL. Well, we'll leave it at that. Hopefully, the administrators know what to do, and hopefully they get it right with the league. All right. Both coaches saying, what we want to hear. Competitive game. No fans in the stands, but of course, a lot of people glued to their TV sets to see that game. Hopefully, both managers will give us something that we'd love to see, because the game against Manchester United, Manchester City and Arsenal was sort of an anticlimax. Not what we wanted to see. But I'm hoping that this top of the table clash will, well, a lot of people disagree when I say top of the table. I mean, top teams playing against each other.
Of course, they both have ambition. And Jose had to put it straight that let's not get it twisted. It's not match day one. We only had a break. We were going for something. Tottenham, for instance, they are 8th on the log. They don't like that result. Jose will never like that. They have just 41 points. If they win this one, they will climb. More so for Manchester United, they are 5th on the log. And if they win, they will be tied at 48 points with Chelsea that gets to play tomorrow or Sunday. So they have what they're looking for to Manchester United. They have their eyes on the top four. Tottenham, they're also hoping to climb. So, and there's rivalry between these two clubs.
Yeah.
Rivalry in every form. That is London versus Manchester. Now it's Jose Mourinho versus whatever he still feels for Manchester United. It is only Gunnar Solskjaer trying to prove a point that, look, I can lead a big club. For players like even Odion Ighalo, it is to repay the confidence and the belief that the club have put in him by extending his loan contract. So we will
And even
see.
Paul Pogba to show us it's not just hyped.
There you go. That he can actually jump back into it and get it done, So it's going to be a good game of football. As I said, we don't want a draw result because they'll both come out very careful. Jose, in a way, likes the fact that the fans will not be there, so nobody will be under any form of pressure. Let's hope that they give us very good football, not the type we expect, because we were so expectant in Man City, Arsenal, and it didn't turn out that way. So let's just hope that this one will really get us talking. And there's also another game tonight. It deserves a mention.
Well, yeah, it deserves a mention as well in the English Premier League. Apart from some of those other games, we'll also see games in Spain, in Germany as well. Then, okay, there you have it. This is one for Spain. We'll get back to the other game in England later today.
Yep.
But
There's
what's going to happen
Norwich
today?
and Southampton.
Norwich and Southampton. Hopefully, goal line technology will not be the star of the game. And Espanyol will take on Levante. Athletic Bilbao take on Real Betis. Getafe up against Eibar. Atletico Madrid up against Real Valladolid. And on Saturday, you had Celta Vigo take on Deportivo Alaves. Valencia take on Osasuna. Real Sociedad will take on Real Madrid. Just a quick mention, yesterday Real Madrid played against Valencia, was 3-0. And in that game, Karim Benzema was able to go past one of the all-time leading scorers for Real Madrid. We need to go on a break right about now, and when we return, we'll talk about David Luiz, talk about some of the other games in some countries in Europe, and the other things in the amazing world of sports. Join us again. Welcome back. Well, better late than never. Ben Eli joins us now. Ben, it's good to have you. We're pressed for time, but it's good to have you, join us.
Yeah, good morning. And always a delight to be here. And the traffic in Lagos at times could be frustrating. I don't want to use the word horrible, but it's good that I'm here. In the last 2 weeks or 3, I've not been able to make it because I run into traffic, and by the time I get here, I just want to get into the office and say, I'm here. But the traffic...
Good to have you around, Ben
All right.
Alaya.
Yeah,
And sorry about the way things got off for your club.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday. It's like, this things happen. So on social media, guys, stop it. People are tweeting that Arsenal lives matter. but Ben, yeah, Arsenal and the struggles continue.
Solidly so, and it's sad, but I think that they brought an undertaker in the like of David Luiz to come and further deepen the pain in Arsenal. I can't imagine you can't play ball and then you went on.
But the manager seems to be defending.
No, the manager himself should go. Because Mikel Arteta should go because the selection he made on that match day was frustratingly foolish, so, quote and unquote. I think that we don't have a team now, and you can imagine Arsenal that is always in the top 4 now, struggling in the top 9. If you're an Arsenal fan, will you sit down at home and clap? I think that a lot of things need to be done. Things that have been undone need to be undone. And I think Arteta is part of the problem. David Luiz should go.
Okay.
It is not the first time he's doing it. He has done it severally. I think Chelsea, which is a London club driver, sent him to us to destroy the club.
Okay.
Sorry, Chelsea fan.
All right. We're going to talk about Chelsea too in a moment. But let's listen to Mikel Arteta. Like I said earlier, he has defended David Luiz, but he says David Luiz might leave the club not because he's not wanted, but because of financial pressure. So let's listen to Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal manager, on the show this morning. All right.
As well.
So that's it. I know you probably don't agree with with his defense of David Luiz, but he's a coach. He sits there, and his job is to manage the team.
He's the coach. He doesn't know everything.
Okay.
So you cannot play God in a club that millions, if not billions of people are supporting across the globe. And so if a player is continually misbehaving on the pitch of play and is being paid heavily, I mean, let him go. Even the manager who is playing him every time should also go.
Ben, you just told Unai Emery to go. Was how many months ago? This one just came now. He should also go.
Unai Emery got as far as qualifying Arsenal for the Europa League. This one, the way it's going, is taking Arsenal to relegation. So he should be kicked out quickly, so that Arsenal will not become one of those extinct clubs. Like the big clubs that you used to know in the English league are in the second tier or third tier. So we don't want Arsenal to be like that. So the earlier you kick out, what's his name
Mikel
again?
Arteta.
Mikel Arteta and David Luiz, or even if it's David, the better for us.
These fans are cracking me up this morning. They said, you guys didn't allow Mikel Arteta to complete his internship with Pep Guardiola, and now you're complaining. But Ben, why we're quick to judge managers, judge players? Well, there's a board making decisions.
Mm-hmm. There's a board. I agree with you. See, Austin, you are a reporter, a journalist, a good one at that. Now, any day you write a bad copy, your editor screams at you.
Yeah.
Any day you write a good copy, if you consistently write a bad copy, you are gone. And so that is it for coaching. Okay. You are gone. It simply means you are not good.
Okay. All right. Before we go to the papers, let's talk about one of Arsenal's London rivals that seem to be approaching the season in a better way. They've just completed, that's in the news, signing of Timo Werner from RB Leipzig. A lot of people are already saying that they're going in the right direction.
I think so. That is a club that has direction. That is a club that has focus or has focus. And they are London rivals. And here we are, being defeated 3-0 by useless mistakes by defenders. I think that Chelsea is good to go. They have money. They have a billionaire behind them. The war chest is there. Yeah. Arsenal also has the war chest, but it is not encouraging when you see the results that are done. And so it doesn't allow the man to bring out money and say, go and buy it, go and buy it, go and buy it.
Then I get to where you're coming from. I please accept my... I don't know if it's sympathy or... Well, Ben, get well soon. The Italian Serie A will resume tomorrow. We love it so much because we're gradually getting back to our action-packed world of sports. Let's run through the fixtures. Torino will take on Parma. Verona will take on Cagliari. Atalanta will play Sassuolo. Inter will go against Sampdoria. It's the Italian Serie A. A lot of action has been stalled due to COVID-19, but some parts of Europe already getting back to action. So this is a good one, Ben. Gradually, things are coming back.
Things are coming back, but the fans are still not in at the stadium, and that is what we'd like to see. Anytime you come, even into channels here, you are tested first on your head to know your level of compliance with the way things are going. And I think that gradually we overcome. Maybe suddenly the fans will also have to go through the processes of saying you test them and they are fit, and then you give social distancing, even at the stadium, because at times when you play football or play any game and the fans are not there, it is not sweet.
All right.
Quote and unquote, it is not sweet.
Okay, we're pressed for time. We have 3 papers to review. We might not be able to take all the 3, but let me just mention that we have Sporting Live, we have Sporting Sun, and Complete Sports. But let's take a look at Complete Sports. If we can take a story or two. Igalo High's first EPL goal for United, and some other interesting stories that we've already talked about. Omero Awaziem in relegation dogfight. Ben, in a few seconds, because we're pressed for time, your reaction, Igalo? Probably might just get his goal tonight.
I think he will get it. I think he's a good player, and for Man U to insist that they want to renew his stay, I think is good, and I think that he will get the first goal, and he will score many more goals. It's just my prayer for him and for the national team of Nigeria is that he comes back. and start playing for us, scoring the goals. We want to win the Nations Cup again after SA 2013.
Okay. All right. So I guess with that we crossed the finish line on the show today. But before we go, let's thank Ben. In spite of everything, he made it. Thank you, Ben, for being here with us.
Thank you, Ben Alaya, for coming out.
Yeah, always a delight. You know, anytime you go like this on the Lagos road, you know that anything can happen. Anything, just anything can happen.
All right. Okay, thank you as well for being part of the last edition of the show for the week. We'll be back here again next week. Amy Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
Thank God it's Friday. Let's do this again next week. I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, let's keep talking sports. Bye for now.